Somehow, some way, the Miami Heat just keep winning. I'm recording this shortly after the Heat took out the Sacramento Kings in Sacramento without Jimmy Butler. And as things currently stand, Miami has the 6th spot in the Eastern Conference. So basically, if the season were to end today for the Heat, they'd be a lock for the playoffs, where last year they had to play 2 play-in tournament games just to get in. And during this stretch, the Heat have been one of the best defensive teams in the league per usual. And as of now, they are sitting at the 7th spot in defensive rating. And I think the craziest thing is that they've done all of this with a very inconsistent lineup throughout the course of this season. For example, they've used over 30 different starting lineups so far, and they've been dealing with a lot of injuries and absences from key players. Caleb Martin, who was huge for this team last year in the playoffs, is back in the lineup now, but he's missed a healthy stretch of the season. Jimmy Butler has been in and out of the lineup due to injuries and now, of course, a suspension, playing only 38 of the 57 Heat games this season. Herro has also been great when he's been there, putting up career-best numbers across the board, but he's played only 36 games. And they're also dealing with a lack of depth from the point guard position. They traded away Kyle Lowry, and they're kind of running things without a legit playmaker at this time. But strangely enough, their lack of having that stomp-down, pure playmaker point guard has still allowed them to run a pretty respectable offensive attack. Sure, they're not as talented night in and night out as some other groups, but they're assisting on 65% of their buckets, which is 10th in the league. And if you want to look at their assists per game numbers, they are pretty low, but it makes sense given that they're 27th in the league in scoring and 28th in pace. And that lack of absolute spectacular play on the offensive end, as I said earlier, is due to a lot of absences on the roster. I'm an avid believer that if Jimmy Butler and Tyler Herro were healthy and available for most of the season, they'd probably be sitting in the top 10 in offensive rating this season. But per usual, this Heat team is doing the best with what they've had over the course of the year. They are completely overperforming relative to the talent that they currently have on this roster. And that's the whole theme with Miami over these last few years, being able to still play great basketball while never being one of the league's most talented teams. Think about it. Over the last 5 years, we've seen the Heat make 2 finals appearances and 3 East finals appearances while never having even one of the top 5 or 6 most talented rosters in the league. Now, obviously, I'm not saying that they don't have all-star caliber players. Jimmy Butler and Bam are as good as a lot of other players in the league, but their overall success over the last 5 years has just been better than a lot of teams who've invested more in star-level players to try to get over the hump. It sounds really corny, but that Heat culture thing is real, and just given how things have gone for them over the last few years, it wouldn't be crazy to think that this team can make yet another conference finals appearance. Last year, they did the impossible by coming down from just a play-in team to making the finals, and with better shot creating options and also the possibility of having a fully healthy roster in the playoffs, it could happen again. Even scarier is, on paper, they're better than what they were last season. They were without Tyler Herro, who was a serious shot creator. Now they got him back to go along with Rozier. Jaime Jaquez, who's about to make the all-rookie first team, is another really good option for this team on offense. We just saw him score 26 on Sacramento. And we all know that Jimmy Butler goes into a completely different mode come playoff time. Seriously, every April and June, we watch Jimmy Butler in the playoffs and start wondering if he's a top 5 player. So moral of the story is this. We saw Miami do a ton with much less last season in the playoffs. And though they haven't been spectacular this season, it still wouldn't be crazy to think that they can make a run similar to the run they made last year in the postseason. Because best believe, if this Miami Heat team goes into the playoffs fully healthy with Rozier, Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, Tyler Herro, and a bunch of other guys who've gotten a lot of reps throughout the season, they're going to be very tough to take out in a 7-game series for any team in the Eastern Conference. So shout out to Eric Spoelstra and the Miami Heat for once again playing basketball at an extremely high level despite having a really inconsistent roster. And I really can't wait to see what this team ends up doing come postseason time.